I always say the best technology solves a problem. And I've had this problem for years. We run all of our tracks through Pro7 right here on our iMac from the booth. And I've always had this issue where I'm doing this little head nod dance with our operators to tell them when to start the next song. Well, that's been solved recently with this pedal right here called the AIRSTEP. The AIRSTEP by Xsonic is a wireless battery-powered MIDI controller that connects to your device over Bluetooth. It has a range of 100 feet and the battery will last up to 300 hours on a single charge. And I've been using this recently to launch our tracks from ProPresenter via the timeline function. And I want to walk you through how we're doing that and then just kind of show you how I've got this rigged up on stage just in a very simple way. But hopefully you can find this helpful and this has lots of use cases. So let's dive into ProPresenter and how that's all set up. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is power on your AIRSTEP and go into the audio MIDI setup and do show MIDI studio. And then from there, you can see my AIRSTEP automatically reconnected, but you may have to click on that Bluetooth button, find your AIRSTEP and connect it. Now I am running Big Sur on this Mac. On the newer OSs, it has had some issues disconnecting every once in a while. Once you've connected that, you're going to go into ProPresenter and wait for that to load for a second, and we're going to go into devices. And you can see I've got my AIRSTEP set up here, and you're going to have to do a new MIDI device and choose the Bluetooth port for that. So I need to get rid of that one here in a second, but an important thing also is you're going to need to know this MIDI map for your values that we're going to look at in just a second. So here's my typical setup for Sunday mornings. I've got the AIRSTEP right there on the base of this really cool little mic stand that I'll link in the description. Just fits perfectly on there because I need the ability just to pick it up and go so we can replace this with our pulpit. But let's see this in action. If I just click button 1, we'll see that it fires our first song and the click tracks are starting in our ears. One of my favorite things about the AIRSTEP is how easy it is to program. If we go into the AIRSTEP app and then we just touch to connect the AIRSTEP, it'll find that one right there. And then you go in basically and program each button to do up to 8 different commands. And so based on that MIDI map in ProPresenter, you can see song 1 right here. Message 1 is when I press the button, it's sending a MIDI note on. MIDI channel 1, note number 19, velocity 6. 19 is choosing the playlist, and then velocity is choosing which item in the playlist. So the 6th item in the playlist. So these songs have to be in the right spot. You can't move them around in the playlist based on the way I'm doing this. And then also at the same time, whenever I press, it's doing another MIDI note, 17, velocity 127, and that rewinds the timeline because all of our tracks are a stereo MP3 that we're adding onto that timeline. And I've got another video on my channel talking about how we run our tracks like that I'll link to in the description. And then the third message that it's sending is when I release that button, it is going to play the active timeline. And so press, I can let it sit there when I'm ready to start, release, and it starts that track. So I'm doing that for songs 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how many songs we do each week. But also what's unique about this pedal is that it can send HID messages, so like keyboard functions. And because I need to have a clear all from up there, just as like a failsafe, but I don't want to clear our announcements that are going in the hallways. And the only way to do that is with a key command, not a MIDI note. So I've mapped F12 to be a clear all but everything except the announcements. And so that's sending an HID message there on the F12. And so, like I said, you can have up to 5 different banks. I wish there was an easy way to get between those, but you can't. You have to push a button on the back. But for me, I could expand this up with the AIRSTEP Lite and add another 5 buttons if I needed to. We don't do more than 4 songs on a Sunday usually, and so that's no big deal. And you could use any of the MIDI functions in ProPresenter, or Multitracks has this ability where you can MIDI map buttons. It would be perfect for that as well. The reason I like this over the thing like the Looptimus is the extended range and the extended battery life. And the ease of programming is so nice. It has, like I said, 300 hours of battery life. You charge it over USB-C. And the 100 meters, that'd be amazing, 100 feet of range for the Bluetooth. It's been rock solid in here. We're about 65 feet from the stage here to this iMac. But for us, this little tool has been really useful so far. I love that I'm not worried about having to map out before the service, okay, I'm gonna say this scripture in between those two songs, and then whenever I give you the head nod or I wiggle my ear, then go to that next track or start the next song. Even whenever we had tracks on stage and my pianist or drummer was running, I still kind of had to do the same thing. And I don't want to be a control freak about most things, but just the starting and stopping of our tracks actually is something that I feel like I need to be in control of, because say I want to take a pause and I do feel the Spirit leading. This gives me the freedom to do that and be able to start and stop things when I want to. And so guys, if this video has been interesting to you, helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button. YouTube's got a cool little animation. And if you do, we're gonna pause for 5 seconds of a cute little hedgehog here.
Castaways, we are castaways.
So let me know in the comments, do you use a Bluetooth pedal like this? Are there others out there that I don't know about? I could see using this with Multitracks on an iPad. You could use a pedal like this also just to turn pages on your iPad with, Planning Center music stand. It's a little overkill for that, but it's just really flexible with the different functionalities that it's got built into it. Remember guys, we can do a lot of great things. Let's do it all for God's glory. We'll see you in the next one.